Glory to God. And we got a crazy one here for y'all today, fellas. What up, YouTubers? Dang. Hold on. What up, YouTubers? MW Pawn, part 2, not part 1. Bet with it. Hold on. Bet with it. Bet with another video, you feel me? And today, we got a crazy one here for today, boys and girls. Today, we got the worst family massacre in Virginia. Oh my gosh. In Virginia. I can't even spell it, bro. You can't be serious. Virginia?
Strayer University
Virginia, right?
helps you earn
Ain't that how you say it, y'all?
with
Ain't that how y'all say it?
10 no-cost.
You are looking at Julian's pronunciation.
Oh my gosh.
Learn how to pronounce these names.
Why can't they
There
just
are
say it, bro?
pronouncing these names different. The most common English pronunciation is as Virginia.
Nah, he don't even know how to say it. Man, bro, the worst family massacre and in Virginia history. I think that was the best one I said. Okay, but it ain't about that, y'all. We just got hot straight into it. You feel me? Get y'all snacks. Feel me? I got my pizza and bananas. Came out of track practice. Got my water. Glory to God. And we finna hop straight into it. Hold on, cause I ain't say grace. Hold on, y'all. And we finna say, get y'all snacks. Y'all got y'all snacks? Put them up in your right hand. God, Holy Spirit, Jesus, thank you for this food, drink, and sauce. Please remove anything harmful that may be in these items, and let them be amazing, nutritious, as I know they will be. And thank you for the people that made these items, bought these items, and thank you, God, for these items, God. Good food, good meat, good spirit, sweet. Amen. Y'all like that, don't y'all?
What if the first knock at your door in the new year was the last one you ever answered? In a quiet, tree-lined neighborhood, a family welcomed January 1st with all the warmth and excitement you'd expect. Holiday leftovers, plans for the year ahead, and a house full of love.
What was this?
But just hours into the new year, that home would become the scene of unspeakable horror. The fire was the first thing neighbors noticed. Thick smoke pouring from the windows, sirens slicing through the winter calm. What firefighters found inside wasn't just shocking, it was pure evil. The kind of scene that silences even the most seasoned investigators. This wasn't random, it wasn't impulsive, it was intentional. And whatever happened behind that front door didn't end quickly. So what could drive someone to annihilate an entire family?
They say that like they getting tortured or something. What's going on, bro?
Included, in cold blood. And what darkness...
Hey, bro, black people don't do weird stuff like this, bro. What we doing, bro? Is he black, bro? He looks black, bro. That's not our culture. That's not my culture. I don't agree with this. No matter what race, but we usually see white people. We usually see white people shooting up schools. You feel me, and stuff like that, or like just killing everybody. We don't see. You feel me, and we don't need to, bro. That's bogus, bro. I get if you want somebody. I get if somebody did something to you. I get if somebody robbed you. I get if somebody shot you. Somebody killed your brother for no reason. I get stuff like that. But just killing the whole family? The kids obviously ain't doing nothing. They're not even grown enough. What is we doing, bro?
Walked through that door
Gray?
on New Year's Day.
What is we doing, Ricky Gray? Ricky Gray?
The tabs you open here
Crazy, man.
are also here.
Life in prison.
The first
bro.
hours of 2006 were slipping by quietly in Richmond, Virginia.
This look like
Neighborhoods like Woodland Heights
Like
still
the
carried the
1960s,
hushed stillness of the
1950s.
holidays. The kind of silence that wraps around homes where families sleep in, still basking in the glow of the previous night's celebrations. But as the afternoon crept in, smoke began billowing from one of the houses on West 31st Street, and with it came the unraveling of a horror that would leave an entire city shaken. Fire crews rushed to the scene expecting a routine call, a kitchen fire, maybe a tree gone up in flames. Instead, what they stepped into was something far more sinister, far more cruel. The source of the fire was deliberate,
Alright.
but the fire wasn't the true tragedy. In the basement of the burning home, beneath the weight of smoke and soot, lay 4 bodies. Their limbs were tightly bound with electrical cords and tape, the
got me
adhesive still
jumping my
clinging
phone,
to
man.
blistered skin. All had been bludgeoned, struck with devastating force by what would later be confirmed as a claw hammer, and every one of their throats had been slashed in what could only be described as an execution. It was a scene of staggering violence, haunting and prolonged. A family hadn't simply been killed. They had been hunted inside their own home, restrained.
And the person that did this, you really think that you finna set the whole house on fire and nobody finna call you? Not everybody burn the ashes that quick, bro. You gonna set the house on fire. The house gonna go on fire. Somebody's gonna call the cops. They're gonna put the fire out and discover their bodies. And you're gonna get your stupid ass caught. Cause when you do crimes like this, it ain't no regular crime, bro. They know somebody crazy did this. So they gonna do their hardest to find you. A lot of times when people get away with murder, it's cause the cops really don't care as much. Cause when you think about it, when the cops really want somebody, bro, you got satellites. They got devices you can see through masks now, gang. Like what? You can tell who it is by their eyes, gang. You can't tell me that's not broken, bro. That's broken. Fortnite gold scarf, 200 pump, gang. PP 919 Call of Duty. That is broken, gang. They can see through your mask. How you gonna get away? You feel me? But look though, a lot of times, especially like in places when it's like high crime, Chicago, St. Louis, Jacksonville, Detroit, you feel me? There is so much crime they can't even keep up. So a lot of times, a lot of it go unsolved. But when you do stuff like this, they looking for you, fuck, and they most likely gonna
Tortured
find you,
and slaughtered. The bodies were positioned close together in the basement, suggesting they may have been held captive for some time before the final blows were delivered. The perpetrators had not only inflicted terror, they had stayed long enough to watch it unfold. Then, as a final act of desecration, they lit the house on fire, not in panic, but with the cold, organized intent to cover every trace of what had happened inside. The victims, Catherine, Brian, Stella, and Ruby Harvey, were known in Richmond, not as celebrities, but as neighbors, parents, artists, and business owners.
That's cool.
The mother, Catherine, a woman of vibrant energy and creativity, had co-founded a popular toy store that was not just a shop. It was a cornerstone of the community, a place where childhood was celebrated. Her husband, Brian, once a rising figure in the college rock scene, had built a quieter life in recent years, trading the noise of the stage for the gentle rhythm of fatherhood. He was soft-spoken, thoughtful, and beloved by friends for his introspective spirit and musical soul. Their daughters were just beginning to carve out their place in the world. The older one, named Stella Ann, just 9 years old, had the precocious wisdom and curiosity of a child who reads far beyond her age. The youngest, Ruby, 4 and full of joy.
That's how I used to be, bro. Like, I used to be in like 4th grade. They used to be like, boy, you got the skills of a 10th grader. I'm like, for real? You feel me? Like, my NWA scores used to be crazy, bro.
Had a smile that neighbors said could turn any day around. To see their lives end this way was to feel something fundamental tear loose inside anyone who knew them, or even just knew of them. The house, once filled with music, toys, and laughter, had been transformed into a garb of silence and ash. As news of the murders spread, grief gave way to confusion, and confusion turned swiftly into fear. There were no signs of forced entry, no known threats, no enemies. There was nothing to explain why such unimaginable cruelty had descended on this one household. But deep down, investigators could feel it. This wasn't a random act of violence. It was a performance. It was controlled. This investigation was only the beginning of the horrors unfolding. They didn't come in with screams or chaos. They came with tape, with silence, with deliberate steps that signaled this was more than just a robbery. It was a performance of control. Gray moved first, dragging Catherine, Brian, and little Ruby into the basement and binding them tightly with packing tape. There was no rush in his movements, no sign that he was worried about time.
How did the cops find her, though?
Meanwhile, Dandridge roamed the upstairs like a scavenger, digging through the home's warmth and comfort for items to steal, casually turning a house into a hunting ground. And then the front door opened. Stella had returned from a sleepover, unaware that the walls of her home had already become a prison. Upstairs, her mother was briefly released, just long enough to bring her daughter down. The image of Catherine, pale, wordless, and composed, standing in the doorway of her daughter's friend's house, was something Kirsten Perkinson would never forget. There had been something off, something drained in her face, but not a single word betrayed what was waiting behind her. Soon after, they were all in the basement, tied, surrounded by...
Wait, so you telling me, am I getting this right? Did they say he sent her upstairs to get her daughter to come downstairs? Boy, I would have left with my daughter. I'm sorry, I would have called the cops though. That would have been better than all of us dying. I would have called the cops and try to save y'all. It looked like coming back downstairs. Was he watching them? Because if he stayed downstairs, and what were we talking about?
Vicious monsters. The illusion of safety had been sealed away, and with it, their final moments began to slip into the hands of monsters. What followed wasn't a frenzy. It was precise. Gray took his time. One by one, he used the blade, drawing it across their throats, the packing tape still pressed against their skin. But it wasn't over. After their bodies slumped into silence, he raised a claw hammer and struck each of them, repeatedly, turning a cold execution into something far more invasive and far more grotesque. The medical examiner would later try to translate that chaos into something clinical. Brian and Catherine killed by blunt force trauma. Stella, smoke and crushing blows. Ruby, 4 years old, pierced in the back by a knife, one wound so deep it reached her lung. But numbers and causes don't begin to explain what happened in that basement.
Oh my God.
Even in the end, they didn't stop there. As if to add one final flourish, Gray and Dandridge knocked over a small art easel, a simple thing, maybe something one of the girls used for painting, doused it with wine, and set it ablaze. It was petty. It was theatrical. It was meant to destroy not just the evidence, but the identity of the space. As flames climbed through the basement, curling around what was left, it might have looked like the scene of a tragic accident. But nothing about this was accidental. The fire didn't go unnoticed. Johnny Hott, Brian's longtime friend and the drummer from House of Freaks, spotted the smoke and made the call that would unravel everything. A fire department arrived to extinguish flames, but what they uncovered would ignite a storm far more devastating than fire. And the men who had walked out of that home hours earlier, calm, unhurried, untouched by the flames of hell they left behind, were already moving forward, as if 4 lives meant nothing at all. But who were Gray and Dandridge? You may wonder. The 2 men, Ricky Gray and Ray Dandridge, were no strangers to darkness. Born in 1977, these 2 were bound not just by blood, but by a shared legacy of violence and criminal behavior. It was only a matter of time before their twisted paths collided into unspeakable horrors. Ricky Gray had a history, one that was written in criminal records and failed relationships. He had been in and out of prison for years, known for his explosive temper and a knack for making life hell for anyone who crossed paths with him. He was no stranger to the life of a violent ex-con, and when he met Treva Terrell, his 3rd wife, things quickly escalated. Their relationship was anything but peaceful, full of shouting matches and physical confrontations that the neighbors often overheard. By November 2005, Treva had had enough. But then she was found dead, her body brutally beaten and dumped in a shallow grave in Washington, Pennsylvania.
In a grave?
But here's the kicker. The authorities...
He drove from Virginia to Pennsylvania and put the body in a grave? That boy is a grave nigger. He is a real life grave digger, boy. I ain't gonna lie. If Virginia one of them states, them boys got the death penalty. I ain't gonna cap.
Actually wrote her death off as a drug overdose. Ricky's forearm had claw marks on it that day. Signs of a struggle, maybe even signs of a fight for her life. But the police didn't connect the dots. They didn't see the killer standing right under their noses. Enter Ray Dandridge. Ricky's nephew, just out of prison after serving more than a decade for armed robbery, moved in with Ricky and Treva after his release in October 2005. By the time Treva's body was found, Ray had already begun to show his true colors. The violence was in his blood too. So, what did the two of them do after Treva's body was buried when no one was paying attention? They moved on. By Christmas, Ricky and Ray had packed up and headed to Arlington, Virginia, hoping to lay low. But the violence didn't stop. In fact, it only got worse. On New Year's Eve, just a few days after settling in Virginia, they decided to attack Ryan Carey. Ryan was beaten and stabbed, left to die in front of his own home.
For what?
He later woke up in a hospital, his body broken.
Well, I would've woke up and pop, 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 pop. Where y'all at, folks? Where y'all at, bro? Y'all not finna be terrorizing me and other folk for no reason, folk. You tripping. You tripping, folk. I would've woke up on tip. What? For what? They ain't even say no reason. They said he saw him. What they say? He said Ryan. What they say?
On New Year's Eve, just a few days after settling in Virginia, they decided to attack Ryan Carey.
They just got there and decided to. Why? They just work. It's not even like they looking for ops. They just looking for people to attack. Just random. Yeah, y'all boys. Y'all run into the right people, fuck. Cause I know so many people, including me, fuck. You ride, go ahead. Cause I'ma straight up and blowing your stupid. Go ahead, fuck. And if I don't got it, I ain't walking too far from my house. Hey, I'm coming right back here and be outside. I'm going right in the crib, coming right back outside. Where y'all at? What you want? What you want to do? You feel me? Like, it's bad, bro. We got, and then, why the heck you got a cross on his map? Man, move around, bro.
A few days after settling in Virginia, they decided to attack Ryan Carey. Ryan was beaten and stabbed, left to die in front of his own home. He later woke up in a hospital, his body broken, his right arm permanently useless, and as he recovered, he would tell the police exactly who did it. Ricky Gray and Ray Dandridge. But that wasn't even the worst of it. No, the real nightmare began on January 1st, 2006. That was when they came for the Harvey family in Richmond.
2026.
Catherine, Brian, Stella, and Ruby Harvey were just living their lives. Or at least they were, until two strangers forced their way into their home.
He didn't know them? So y'all just doing this randomly, bro. But you coming to this crib, bro. Bro. You not coming back out, folks. Y'all two would have been on the floor, folks. I ain't going out without no fight, bro. Y'all give me. I'm getting y'all two, though. Tripping, folks. Y'all is tweaking out y'all body. And don't let me be at my auntie, at my uncle crib, folks. It's straight Drake over there. Y'all not making it through the door. Y'all ain't making it through the door. It's straight Drake over there, fuck. Y'all won't make it past the screen door, fuck.
Ray would later admit that they were desperate for money. That was the whole reason behind the plan.
Then what y'all do all this extra stuff for? Y'all attacking random people. Killing y'all ex-girlfriends. What money did y'all gain? Stupid. stupid? Like, what is we talking about?
Hadn't even picked the Harvey home specifically. They just noticed the front door was open and took their chance. Once inside, they held the family hostage. When the family's friends arrived for a scheduled playdate, Gray and Dandridge forced Catherine to act like everything was fine. They told her if she slipped up, her family would die. She stayed calm and played along, trying to protect her husband and kids. When the friends left, all hell broke loose. But Gray and Dandridge weren't done. After the Harvey family was left for dead, they burned the house down, trying to destroy the evidence, trying to hide what they'd done. It didn't work.
Like a goofy.
Do it now. Spritz it good. Rub it on your body just like you should.
A few days later, they turned on their accomplice, Ashley Baskerville. She, along with her parents, became the next victims of this brutal killing spree. By now, the authorities were piecing together the trail of violence left behind, and it didn't take long before they arrested the two men. It all started to unravel with an ordinary robbery in Chesterfield County, Virginia, on January 3rd, 2006, or at least it appeared to be. A couple living on
2 days after killing them, they killed them on the first. They talking about doing a robbery on the third. Y'all don't chill. Y'all got no chill at all, bro. So y'all just terrorizing the city. Well, it kept my paw on me at all times. Go ahead and come play with me. Y'all ain't going to jail, folks. Y'all is not making it to jail. Y'all gonna have to trick me. Pretend to be my friend or something. You're not finna walk up on me and put no night. Hey, you tripping, bro.
Wood Drive became the latest victims of a well-rehearsed, cold-blooded crime. The trio of criminals, 2 men and a woman, knocked on the couple's door, claiming to be lost and asking for directions. It seemed harmless enough at first, but it was anything but. The moment the door opened, the robbers pushed their way in, taking the couple by surprise. They ransacked the house, swiping a computer, a television, and $800 in cash.
Nobody see them.
But when the
outside?
husband attempted to stall the robbers by pointing out his wife's disability and his need to care for her, the criminals hesitated. It was enough to make them reconsider tying the couple up, but the damage was already done. They had been targeted, their home invaded, and the robbers made off with their stolen goods. It wasn't long after this crime that the pieces of the puzzle began to fit together. On January 6th, 2006, the phone rang at the Chesterfield police station.
3 days.
A concerned resident was worried about her daughter's friend, 21-year-old Ashley Baskerville, and her strange ties to 2 men, Ricky Gray and Ray Dandridge, both of whom had stayed at Ashley's home as house guests and were now suspected of being involved in the Harvey family murders. The tip led investigators straight to Ashley's doorstep, and soon police were swarming the house on East Broad Rock Road where she lived with her mother, Mary Baskerville Tucker, and her stepfather, Percy L. Tucker. Inside, the police found a nightmare. The house was a wreck, a clear sign of the violence that had taken place there. Percy L. and Mary had been savagely slashed across the throat, their lives extinguished in an instant. The real horror lay in what they had done to Ashley. She wasn't just dead. She had been suffocated. A plastic bag had been wrapped around her head and sealed tight with duct tape, the same tape used to bind her and her family, ensuring they could neither scream nor escape. All 3 victims had been gagged and bound in a cruel display of control.
Them boys got
their
like
bodies
9
left
bodies,
in their
bro.
own home, where they had been so violently silenced.
No sexual
It didn't
stuff,
take
bro.
long for the police to connect the dots. The items found at the Baskerville Tucker home, a computer, a television, matched the stolen property from the Chesterfield
like a
home
goofy.
invasion, tying the whole
You
thing
think
together.
like a, man,
But one
shoot.
item that made them 100% sure was the ring Ashley was wearing. It was Catherine Harvey's wedding ring. Gray and Dandridge had been on a spree, their bloodlust not yet satisfied. This wasn't just a robbery gone wrong. It was the continuation of a spree that had already left a trail of destruction in its wake.
They like to kill people.
And it was only just
Random
beginning.
people.
Gray and Dandridge's rampage had escalated from one target to another, their violence becoming increasingly brutal and heartless. As they turned their attention to Ashley and her family, They set off a chain of events that would lead to their eventual capture and the revelation of the full extent of their depravity. On the morning of January 7th, 2006, Ricky Gray and Ray Dandridge were finally caught.
Y'all killed this family January 1st. And y'all got caught on the 7th. Y'all lasted 6 days. And y'all was still in Virginia. Y'all is broke. Y'all is goofy. Y'all.
The police found them in Philadelphia, staying at Dandridge's father's home.
They thought they was gonna
Just an hour after their arrest, Dandridge couldn't hold it in anymore. He confessed to the murders of Mary and Percy L. Tucker, as well as Ashley Baskerville.
Let me tell y'all something. People that crazy, people like that, they not trying to get away. They don't even care about life, bro. They not trying to get away. People that just be killing people like that, they don't even be trying to get away for it. At all. They have their little fun, try to get away, you feel me, run from the cops. They like that little fun. Just how they like killing people. They like that adrenaline rush. But once they get caught, they ain't trying to fight no case. 9 times out of 10, I'll say 8 times out of 10, they not trying to fight no case, bro. Why you think when them serial like Jeffrey Dahmer, you ain't see him trying to fight no case for real? I don't know. Them boys just don't be caring, bro.
It was just the beginning. 12 hours later, Gray, who had been quietly simmering in his cell, asked to speak with a detective. What followed was chilling. Gray handed over a detailed 3-page confession. He didn't hold back. In his confession, he described how he'd killed the Harvey family using a kitchen knife and a claw hammer to brutally end their lives. He didn't try to justify his actions, instead saying, "I don't believe sorry is strong enough." None of this was necessary.
If you knew that, why did you...
But even as he confessed to the Harvey murders, he didn't stop. He went on to admit that he had beaten his wife, Treva, to death while Dandridge held her down, and that he had been part of the Tucker Baskerville murders. Gray even confessed to the brutal attack on Ryan Carey. The floodgates had opened, and everything came pouring out. As the investigation progressed, the police pieced together more and more of the story. By January 8, 2006, they had confirmed Ashley Baskerville's involvement. She wasn't just a victim caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. She had actively participated in the robbery and murders. Evidence, including testimony from witnesses and items found during the investigation, made it clear that she had played a role. Ashley had been the lookout while Gray and Dandridge entered the Harvey home to rob them, and later became a used toy that those monsters randomly threw away one day. In their confessions, Gray and Dandridge claimed Ashley had pretended to be a victim. She had allowed herself to be tied up as part of the plan to rob her parents, but when things went south, Gray decided he was done with her.
She set her parents up? Freak her too. Sure, I mean, she had it coming. You want to be all with you set your parents up? And they got killed. They got slimed out by the people that you was. This is bogus.
So he killed her too, and then stole her parents' car to make their getaway. The whole thing was a twisted series of lies, manipulation, and brutal violence. What started as a robbery spiraled into something much darker, and the confessions from Gray and Dandridge revealed just how deeply they were involved in the deaths of so many people. The aftermath of their arrests would send shockwaves through the community, leaving behind a trail of broken lives and unanswered questions. The court proceedings for Ricky Gray and Ray Dandridge were as intense and chilling as the crimes they committed. Both men were tried in the city of Richmond Circuit Court in Virginia, with the weight of the murders hanging over them. On February 9th, 2006, things started to take shape legally. Ricky Gray was charged with 5 counts of capital murder.
They ain't waste no time. February, what, 9th? That's 3 days before my birthday. For my birthday on the 12th. Boom. I wasn't born then, though. But look, though. Most trials and stuff take about years, like a year or something. They got to that in a month. They not playing with them boys. That's how I know if it's the death penalty, that's exactly what they getting.
In the horrific murders of the Harvey family. These charges included killing more than once in a 3-year period, committing multiple murders in a single act, killing during a robbery, and killing 2 children under 14 years old. Meanwhile, Dandridge was charged with 3 counts of capital murder for the deaths of the Baskerville Tucker family, though later one of those charges would also cover his role in the Harvey murders. At first, Dandridge pleaded not guilty, but as the trial went on and the case against him grew stronger, he made a dramatic change. Just before the closing arguments, he switched his plea to guilty for all 3 murders, agreeing to a deal that would keep him behind bars for the rest of his life without the possibility of parole. This was his way of avoiding the death penalty.
I told y'all
but
they was gonna get
clear.
that bit. If the other
Gray, on the other hand, stuck with his not guilty
plea. Hey!
His defense.
Sorry, nah, I'm on him grave. He out of there, folks. He ain't living right now. I guarantee you it. And sometimes the death penalty be taking about 20 years. No, they put that boy away fast. I guarantee you it. He was on the top of the holding block. Sorry now, or should we do a bottle flip for his ass? Fun him grave, boy. He out of there, folks.
Tried to argue that he had suffered physical and sexual abuse as a child.
Now they trying to play that. You see how they... Every time. Y'all can't go to a video that I react about these crimes. They try and see nobody trying to play crazy, folks. Every time they get caught, they try to play crazy, bro. Every time, bro. Every time. Go to every crime video on my channel. You gonna see the person trying to play crazy, bro. I'm not going for none of that, folks. At all, bro.
Was under the influence of PCP at the time of the murders.
I ain't trying to hear none of that.
Hoping for some leniency.
I ain't trying to hear.
But the jury wasn't swayed.
Man, I wouldn't
After a 4-day trial and just 30
4
minutes
days.
of deliberation.
4 days, y'all. I don't even like that number, folks. 4 days. Y'all see how fast they not playing with them boys, man. Y'all some ducks.
Found him guilty on all 5 capital murder charges.
Y'all are some goofies.
The jury recommended the death penalty for the murders of the Harvey children, Stella and Ruby, while suggesting life in prison for the other 3 charges. On October 23, 2006, Gray was officially sentenced to death, but the legal battles didn't end there. In December 2006, Ricky Gray was also indicted for the murder of 37-year-old Cheryl Warner, a mother of 3 whose body was found in a burning house in Culpeper County.
What's with this arson
She had been
stuff,
shot
bro?
and hanged in the basement,
Oh, now we
another
using
horrific
guns
act
now.
that Gray would have to face.
Yeah, you play on me in front of yo, you gonna have to use guns, cause best believe I'm flicking at you, folks. I see this man face. If I knew he was doing all this, he tried to walk up on me, whatever that boy is going down, folks. I'm not going like that, bro. No
This
time
charge was
soon,
eventually dropped
You're
in
tripping.
2008 because of contradictory evidence.
You're tripping.
Even after his sentence, Gray's case dragged on. Between 2011 and 15, his execution was delayed multiple times due to appeals in both state and federal courts. In November 2015, the Fourth Circuit Court rejected one of his appeals, and in January, a year later, Gray's execution was set for March 16, 2016. But the delays didn't stop there. His lawyers filed yet another appeal with the U.S. Supreme Court, which chose not to hear his case later that year. Finally, in 2016, after all the appeals were exhausted, Governor Terry McAuliffe denied Gray's clemency plea. His execution was scheduled for January 18, 2017, and at around 10 p.m. that night, Ricky Gray was executed by lethal injection at the Greensville Correctional Center.
They need to put him in front of
As
the
for
firing
Ray Dandridge,
squad,
he's still serving his life sentence in Sussex 2 State Prison. His story didn't end with the trial, and the weight of his actions still hangs over him as he remains behind bars. The trial and the aftermath showed just how deep the darkness went with these 2 men, Gray, who would eventually face the ultimate penalty, and Dandridge, who would live out his days in prison. Both men left a trail of devastation that still echoes in the Richmond community to this day. But as the dust settled, one question continues to haunt those who were left to pick up the pieces. Was this truly the end of their deadly spree? Or was there more lurking in the shadows,
It is true. Did
waiting
they
to be
kill more
uncovered?
than them people?
Share your thoughts in the comments below.
So
If you've made it this
I
far,
think that's it, cause they was doing them crimes back to back to back. That gotta be it. But look though, yeah, this a little creepy. I'm not gonna lie to you. Rest in peace to the kids though. But bro, yeah, folks, you was a goofy. You know it's bad. Look, this how I knew they was getting a death penalty, folks. I mean, I knew they was getting. They charged them with 5 capital. Do you know what capital murder is, folks? You're a fraud, folks. After one, you might get the life without parole, folks. Folks that pleaded guilty and still got life without the possibility of parole, bro. That's the second worst option, folks. That's how I knew folks were getting a death penalty. He pleaded not guilty. It's bad. The freak he thought he was doing. Fuck thought he was finna slither on out of there, man. Move around, fuck. Move around, fuck. This is crazy. Could look into the eyes of a child and still carry out something like this. Monsters don't always hide in the dark. Sometimes they walk right in your front door. So they would have been leaving on a stretcher, folks. Y'all boys is crazy. And then I got my aunties and them live in Virginia, folks. Not at the time, but this though, not in 2006, but they live in Virginia now though. Shoot. To these two cowards. Yes, the body count is most likely high. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I don't know. Pure evil, shake my head. But the devil works through people, y'all. Just how God got his people, the devil got his people, bro. That's all I'm gonna say, bro. Yeah, y'all too got everything y'all deserve, in my opinion, folks. Y'all boys, y'all. Glory to God, bro. Hope y'all enjoyed as much as I did. Love y'all. Stay safe. Stay blessed.